YouTube, what's going on? It's your boy King and Deuce, man. It's the King and Deuce show. We got something to talk about, Deuce. Press conference took place. Bickerstaff introduced a lot of important points that he brought up. I know you got a lot to say on this topic. A lot of key things that he said that we both want to talk about. So, Deuce, first and foremost, how are you feeling, my man?
I'm feeling good, bro. It's been a hot one today. But, you know, a lot of people talking about this JB Bickerstaff signing and press conference and stuff like that. So I had a little bit of time to be able to kind of watch it with, you know, my full attention on it as far as trying to multitask and do stuff like that. So I had quite a few takeaways from what he said, just comparing it to what happened last season. I honestly didn't pay enough attention to last season's presser, just because of the resume. And that's on me. You know what I mean? Assuming that a certain coach is going to do this or that based on the resume. So this season, I really took a different approach with that. And so, like you said, he was introduced yesterday. JB Bickerstaff introduced as Pistons head coach. And this stream tonight, guys, is going to be focused mainly on that. Just because, you know, you don't get a new coach every day. I mean, it seems like it's every year for us, but you don't get a new coach every day. So I just we want to break it down, what he had to say. Because to be honest, like I said, I really was paying attention to it this season. And I will say this, bro, before we kick it off, right? I learned something about this new regime before they even said one word. They started on time. I learned something just off of that. Just off of that. Just the fact that we didn't have to wait for an hour to get some theme music, which I wasn't about to wait for. I was about to go do something else if there was going to be enough time. But shout out to the professionalism. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the respect for others' time. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to just even the way you're perceived. You know what I'm saying? Like, even if it's not even real, just let it be perceived a certain way that this is how you're going to be doing things or whatever. So shout out to them for that, because that was what everybody was looking at. Everybody was planning on showing up a half hour late and being a half hour early. So shout out to them for that. And shout out to everybody in the comments too. Y'all coming in deep, pause already early, and we just getting started. So we got Marvin in here. We got Devin, Council. We got some newcomers here. Good to see everybody, man. We got a lot to talk about, a lot that I wanted to say. We want to hear from y'all too. What were you guys' thoughts on, because we're going to be checking this chat throughout. What are you guys' thoughts throughout this whole presser? What are you guys' thoughts? How are you feeling about it? King, if you want to kind of go from there, you can too.
Yeah, man. First and foremost, being on time. Being on time, man.
It's such a big deal, right?
Just like you said, having respect for other people's time. Because last time, I'm going to be honest with you, I was pissed at the last person. We sat there for damn near an hour waiting, and it was just like, come on, man, take it serious, you know?
Yeah.
Obviously, this very passionate city, very, very passionate fan base, passionate media, passionate creators. We're ready to get the ball rolling, right? So, on top of everything that Bickerstaff said impressing me, that was impressive. That was very impressive.
Yeah.
Like I said, man, you want that perception put out there. Like, listen, we're strictly business.
Yep.
You know, it's, you know, all of the time for the foolishness is out the window. We here to get it done. We here to move forward. That's what you want to feel, right?
Yes.
That was important.
Yes. That was very important. And we're gonna touch on that too, just based on what you just said about moving on, right? Because that's something you always kind of allude to a lot anyway. So let's just kind of go through some of these quotes, man. Shout out to all the beat writers who were there and got this information for us. Shout out to everybody who was there and asking great questions and getting great answers from them. So we're going to kind of piggyback off of some of their tweets to see what was said. So the first thing I wanted to hit, bro, Trajan Langdon said the coaching search started a week after the draft. And when JB was hired, the first thing he and Bickerstaff did was go out to LA and handle the Tobias Harris signing. So it was obviously a clear plan from jump what the front office wanted to get done, right? Get some vets here. And, you know, seems that was priority number one, to be honest. And of the guys who were available, I feel like Tobias was one of the best ones, you know, one of the best fits in terms of what we needed and what he can bring, setting the standard, you know, for professionalism, in-game experience type of stuff. And of course, just shooting the ball. So I thought that was interesting that he said that, because it kind of showed what their priority was from day one that he was hired.
Yeah, he definitely exudes the type of personality that we wanted to vet. Professionalism, hard work.
Right.
Same time he gives you what we need on the basketball court. So obviously, the signing was solid all the way around.
All the way around.
Definitely kudos to the Pistons for getting everything done. Everything is official now, including Cade. We'll get into that.
Yeah.
Getting business taken care of. That's what he came in the door saying that he wanted to do. And it's looking like that's where we're headed. So, yeah,
man. I agree with you there, bro. Let's keep it moving. So the next thing that I wanted to hit on that he said, this is Trajan. He said that they were looking for someone with great leadership, communication, and collaboration skills. And he said positivity was huge after what happened to the team last year. So the part that stood out to me with this one, and this kind of references back to what you always say, King, leave last year exactly where it was at. You said that probably tens of times on here already. And I mentioned that in our last video, like how in order for the team to move forward, there needed to be some visible change or turnover that everybody could visibly see. And so I think Trajan understood, whether right or wrong, too. That's the thing, whether you think it needed to happen or not. I just think that's what the majority of fans needed to see just to have a different energy and feeling about the team. So I think Trajan kind of understood that, the importance of that, of just kind of wiping the slate clean and starting fresh.
Right. Yeah. I listen, man. For the fan base, most important.
Talk to me.
For the fan base, most important. Let it go. So the last time we're gonna talk about this.
Yes.
Let it go. It's over. It's done. You can't go back and fix it. It happened. Let it go. Period.
And just focus on what we have to look forward to now.
Yes.
You know what I mean? We have like we always say, the energy now is just different. So, kind of like the remnants of the last regime as far as having conversations about it. But I feel like now, like you said, it's time to move on and see what we have going forward and kind of just put our attention to what the team is saying and seeing if that's translating to what they're doing.
Right.
So, you know what I mean? So, yeah. All right, keep it moving. Next thing. Trajan Langdon again said Bickerstaff had the passion and desire to be in Detroit. So I've seen some pretty funny tweets in comparison of last year's press to this year's press. I'm sure you've seen them too, about how JV's already a better coach than Monty. Not even off of the timing, like I said, but he didn't say he wanted to be here for the money. Like everybody's been saying that. Like as soon as I heard that, oh, he's better coach. Like, of course, being facetious and being tongue in cheek, but I just thought that was funny that people jumped on that. So I know we were kind of having fun with this, man. And I'm just looking at how, like, I'm trying to think how I even want to say this. Monty, he mentioned money as the motivation, right?
Yeah.
It's funny because he didn't, just to be clear, he didn't say that was the only reason, but he mentioned that among other things. But it's just funny because at the time that he said it, I don't think I really processed what he was saying. And I think I kind of subconsciously made it a smaller deal than what it was, instead of just attributing his answer to him just being honest.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so, but after listening to JB, just how much, I was looking at and listening to just how much homework he's done on this team. And he did on the team before he even took the job, right? His understanding of this team's history. His father, Bernie Bickerstaff, I'm sure he helped him, as being a former coach in the NBA. So he's probably around the, players and coaches and execs all the time. But he just seems to be much more involved and passionate about the opportunity to coach here. And he really just seems to take pride in being committed to helping his team get better. That's really what it seems like his bottom line is.
Yeah. I listen. Another thing with Bickerstaff, came in, gave the law of the land. It's strictly straight business, wasn't shying away from any questions.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Good point.
And the difference between the two in their press conferences, right? You didn't have some orchestrated thing where all the players are sitting there. And, we all know that that was a team thing. They told all the players to be there for Monty Williams, right?
Yep.
This thing wasn't orchestrated. You know what I'm saying? Bickerstaff is there. He's answering every question that we want answers to.
Every single question.
Tough questions. He's obviously done his research, right? He's been studying this team. He's been watching some film. He's been
it's clear.
Right, it's clear. So, just a total difference. Monty is just like, well, he was over here, so I ain't really pay attention to the team. Quick answers, bullshit. You know what it is, right?
Generic, a lot of generic surface answers.
Right. Right. It's just like, let's get this done so y'all can get out of my face type of But Bickerstaff, it was genuine. That you can tell he was very interested and learning these guys and, seeing the potential in these guys. Obviously, one of the topics we're getting ready to talk about was Ivy. He didn't shy away from, going full throttle with that. So, like I said, the difference between the press conferences was night and day.
Yep.
And that was very refreshing as a Pistons fan.
100%. Yep. Couldn't have said that better, bro. This one was interesting for me too. We got a couple of graphics for some of the ones that I thought were really, really important or resonated with me at least. And this is the first one. Let me take this off here so everybody can see it. So he said, I had a great feeling this organization was being led by the right people. And that may sound like a great surface answer, right? But I thought that was important because, like we were talking about earlier, that perception, bro, like the perception of this team was the only thing that was going to give tangible, we had to make changes for tangible and visible, changes to be made. So everybody had to see something happen. They needed to see that, whether it was right or wrong. So I wonder if JB would have felt the way he said he did if the previous regime was still here. I don't know, because he wouldn't have had much to go off of as far as seeing that change. You know what I mean? If no major changes were made, I think it's a little bit different, even perhaps from his perspective, how he's viewing the team. Okay, they're saying they're moving in a different direction, but I still see a lot of the same things here. So what are they doing that's different? You know what I mean? The thought process, even as a potential coach, was affected by the tangible and visible change that was made by the team. So I think they just really understood how important that was. Whether right or wrong, whether deserve it or not, I think they knew that had to change in order to bring some type of attraction to the team in some way, shape, or form, even with potential coaches and players.
Yeah, you definitely have some coaches turning it down.
Yeah, 100%.
And with Trajan Langdon, like I said, he just professionalism all the time. Saying straight, stern, straight to the point, professionalism. That's what it is. And you come into a staff like that, that helps out a lot. Now ownership is ownership. That's something that we can't change. That's something that's not going to change. That's another thing we just need to move to the side right now.
Right.
Let's let Trajan do his thing. Like I said, we still got to hire him. So let him, build this front office the way it's supposed to be. I've seen that owners all the time have good teams, Cowboys. So,
Cowboys,
yes. So like I said, for me, head of basketball operations down.
Right.
That's important. That's important.
And hopefully it can really feel that way.
Yeah. To
where the top starts with hopefully at some point for us as Pistons fans, it feels like it doesn't start with the owner because the owner's not getting involved. And he's kind of letting the people that he put in place just do their job.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I feel like people don't really want to see Tom or hear from Tom anymore. They want to see what he's doing. They want to see what he's doing behind the scenes more so than I think in front of a microphone. So hopefully that, like you said, at the point, it can really start mentally from us, president, not disrespecting him, but just saying as far as the operations of the team, it needs to start president down and kind of just go from there. So I'm with you 100% on that, bro. 100%. Next quote. Okay, so Bickerstaff on defensive identity with this young team. He said, if you don't have a strong defensive foundation, your team is going to struggle to take the steps. The elite teams in this league have two-way players and defend. We had issues with Isaiah Stewart and Jalen Duren switching onto our smalls and then being able to stay in front of the basketball. I thought that was interesting because I put on record that how much I wanted the Pistons to have that too big lineup, right, in the starting lineup because the East is going big. But the interesting part was that he was then asked if, the too big style in Cleveland if it was going to make its way to Detroit. And he said, our responsibility is to put the best units on the floor that we can. Whatever the roster is, we play to that. We can adjust. We're not stuck in one way. So that tells me that maybe there is a path for Tobias Harris to start. That's what that tells me at the 4. Because he said it was 2 different occasions to where he kind of hinted toward perhaps wanting to see that improve or change between Stewart and Duren. When he talked about how they had trouble staying in front. And then he didn't take advantage of the opportunity when asked about bringing that here. He didn't say, yes, we intend to look at that. He just said, oh, no, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. We're not going to go one way or the other. We're not stuck in one way. So to me, it's kind of like that may open up a path, or maybe that's the reasoning as to why they may be looking at Tobias Harris starting at the 4, because they feel that having either of Duren and Tobias, which is too small, not Stewart and Tobias is too small, or Duren and Tobias makes more sense than having Stu and Duren together, so they can at least guard the perimeter a little bit better. So I don't know, bro. I still want to see that 2 big lineup, bro. I know I said it before, but I still want to see it at least before we move to a smaller lineup, because the East is getting bigger and bigger. That's just my take, though.
Me personally, that was one of the things I had at the top of my list. That quote that you just read. Obviously, I'm always talking defense, right? What good is scoring buckets if you're allowing the other team to score buckets?
Right.
I'm saying. So when he said that lit me up instantly. And then when he went into it, and obviously he's going to be emphasizing that with this team, especially with our front court. You look at the front court he had in Cleveland. That's what those guys did. It was the calling card, man. So the 2 big lineup, I think, is something that we probably will see simply because of his history and just that comment. You know what I'm saying? Because you got to have that front. Your front has to be your front, bro. You gotta be able to hunker down, man, and keep these guards from slashing, getting to the basket. These dudes, they need to think about coming to the basket when it's against your team. With the Pistons over the years, it just has not been that way.
Yep.
At will, they attack the basket. Nothing is there to meet them. You know what I'm saying? So when you got young players like you got with Bickerstaff, I'm probably sure he's gonna be pounding that constantly.
Yeah.
Camp, man, and going forward. So I'm looking forward to that. Stand in front of guys, period. For me, 1 to 5, stand in front of guys, period.
Yeah. That's what our Pistons teams of old did. It does tell me that he may put more of a premium on perimeter defense as opposed to interior defense. If he's looking to go smaller and have a guy be able to switch out on the perimeter, which it sounds like he wants to do, talking about bigs guarding, their smalls. So he's probably going to be doing a lot of switching, and I think he wants to be versatile with his switching. And I think that may be why he may be looking for more perimeter defense as more of a focus than the interior defense. I did see what Devin said here about Stu not being that much bigger than Harris. But like you said, it's the strength part of it, bro. Like it's the lower body strength, the hips, his legs. You know what I mean? For example, look at Ben Wallace and Tayshaun Prince, or even Ben Wallace and Rasheed Wallace. Like, who was taller, but who was playing center? Go ahead.
On top of that, dudes is willing. Stu is willing.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? Tobias Harris, that's not really his game.
Right.
He'll be serviceable at times, but he's not the guy that's trying to, that's not his game. So it's willingness at the same time.
Like, think about it. I always talk, and this was a while ago, but I always talk about how Tobias, how he was really getting abused a little bit by Kevin Love when we played in 2016, the playoffs. It was 8 years ago, but his frame is still very similar, play the same way. But he was getting abused by Kevin. Like, if that was Stu there, they're not even looking at that matchup. They're not looking to ISO Kevin Love on Isaiah Stewart. You know what I mean? Because of the physicality and just like you said, the willingness and want to be able to defend is a part of his game. That's one of his hallmarks. So I think it's just a difference as far as approach.
Yeah,
I agree, man. I agree with that. Anything else you want to hit on with Stu? Are you going?
No. Like I said, I just like the fact that he shows Stu some love.
Yeah. I don't think Stu's going anywhere.
Yeah, me neither.
He's not going anywhere. I think Stu was like his kind of guy. Yeah. And I think somebody mentioned it earlier. I think he understands a lot of the little things that Stu can do for your team, covering up mistakes, just things that don't show up in the stat sheet. He does them by nature. That's the way, shooters love to shoot. You know what I mean? He loves to play physical. That's just what he is. He loves to play physical basketball. So you can't find that every day. You can't find that in a lot of guys consistently. And when you got to train guys to do it, it's still not going to be at the level of consistency of somebody who just has that in them. So right. I think that's very rare quality that he has, and that's what's going to keep him here. Keeping it moving. He talked about the defensive identity with his team. He said, if you don't have a strong defensive foundation, your team is going to struggle to take steps. The elite teams in this league have two-way players and defend. Got issues with Isaiah. That's what I mentioned with Stewart. Okay, cool. So this one here, Bickerstaff on what he can bring from his other stops. You got to make it fun. You go through a long NBA season. You're together all the time. So, yeah, I mean, I'm not compared to what happened last. Pistons didn't have no fun last season. We know that because we ain't had no fun last season. I don't know how he intends to do that. Like, I don't know what he means. I have ideas, but I'm wondering what those are, like, as far as making the game fun. But I do know this. Everything is way more fun when you win it. Yeah. So hopefully, they can build some camaraderie in camp, go into the preseason with a little chemistry and string some wings together early in the season to build some confidence. That'll make it fun real quick.
I think that's why he emphasized that young guys are going to make mistakes. I think that's why he emphasized that, man, because, in the past, it was like, you make a mistake, you're getting subbed out the game. These guys are going to make mistakes, you know what I'm saying? And when you can go out there and play some carefree basketball and have fun out there on the court with each other and grow together, then that just everything take care of itself, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I think that's what he was emphasizing that for, saying, hey, listen, man, guys are going to make mistakes, but at the same time, these guys are going to go out here and have some fun, learning and growing together.
100%, bro. 100%, man. I'm really looking forward to seeing what his approach is just as a whole. You know what I mean? Just everything from watching him on the sideline to, his post-game conferences. I just want to see what his makeup is, how he deals with situations. Like, we saw like that type of fire one time from Monty last year, and that was the New York Knicks game when we obviously, the whole world saw we should have won. And I was like, okay, it's there. But it seems like Bickerstaff doesn't need to get pushed to the very edge to come with that kind of energy, which I like. You know what I'm saying? It seemed like he's just about that. So moving on. He also said, this is Trajan. He said that head coaching experience was important in the hiring process here. I thought that was interesting because it shows that, at least to me, it shows that Trajan wasn't as interested in some of the available coaches that many of us wanted, myself included. Mm-hmm. I wanted Mike Nori. I say it all the time. But guys like him, guys like Sean Sweeney, Sam Cassell, Stackhouse, right? None of those guys had much of a chance because they don't have head coaching experience. And we now know that Trajan wanted head coaching. He wanted head coaching experience. So it just tells me that he wanted a coach that had experience coaching a young team. You know what I mean? A coach that fits the timeline and mentality of this team. That's why I think he'll be much more successful than Monty was, because he wants to be here. And what appears to be, by all accounts, he wants to be here for the right reasons. And he has a lot of success with young guys. So I feel like Monty has success with older teams that are already, experienced, veteran laden, type of thing. I think that's going to be a big difference, is that I think Bickerstaff likes, like Larry Brown used to like coaching up and building young teams from scratch. Like his issue, he liked it too much. Once he would get him to the top, he would get bored and then move to another project. So that's what I like, though. I want to see a coach that's really ready to get his hands dirty and build from the ground up, from scratch.
Yeah, that's what he was asking for. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, you had a coach in here that had no business being here, that should have been going to a winning team already if he was going to coach. But this situation is different. One that was wrongfully fired. That I truly believe, that a lot of the basketball world truly believes.
Yeah.
And like I said, he's going to come in here and he's going to bring that hunger, man. Bring that hunger, still that into these players that we have. Like we was talking about, he mentioned Ivy, man, and how unstoppable Ivy can be.
Yeah, we don't get to that too. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. So, put that hunger in there, put the dog, I'm saying, in these dudes, man. And let's just see what happened.
yeah.
The Eastern Conference,
Yep.
and anything can happen, man. So I'm looking forward
Anything.
to it.
Yeah, man. He said, Bickerstaff, he talked about shooting and vets. And I think this is what a lot of people want to hear about. He said, you want to surround your guys that you're developing with players who make them better. Success offensively starts with that space. I'm gonna let you go first on this one. What are your thoughts on this one? I'm gonna let y'all in the comments go crazy too. Because
First, obviously, me and you've been talking about it over and over. You got to put guys around, Cade and Ivy that's going to help them be better, right? To hear him say that and realize that is just one thing. But, just to look and see what we've added is another. You know what I'm saying? And we still have a possibility to add more. Man, that's key. You know what I'm saying? That is huge for me. Spacing is everything for our guards. You know what I'm saying? For Ivy to be able to drive the lane and kick if he needs to, and for Cade to be able to attack or distribute if he needs to. It's everything for us, for guys to be able to cut through these lanes, man, and it creates so much better of an opportunity for the type of young guys that we have. So, and again, like I said, I truly believe, simply because he's coming from Cleveland, we will see some sensible basic pick and roll too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I expect this offense to make a lot more sense than what we just came from watching.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. It was just funny how quickly he seemed to realize that. Like, this is what we need to do for our guy. This is how his game is built, and this is what needs to happen for him to play well. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it just seems like it was just so matter of fact about it. It almost seemed sarcastic with how, like, obvious he was saying it. I don't know if it was on purpose or not. I think that's kind of Trajan Langdon's humor, like a dry, really sly humor. That's kind of what I got from him, though. Just like, this is what we have to do if we're gonna. It was just funny. But yeah, like you said it, bro. I don't really have much to add to that. We know our guards need space. Trajan's providing that. In a month's time, he's provided both Cade and Jaden with more space than they've ever had since they've been in the Pistons uniform. And I'm sure that was something that he was hoping to hear from JB when they were talking about the offense, because those are some of the conversations you obviously have with the potential coaches. What are you looking to run? How do you think this offense may run with our roster? What changes should we make in order to fit the offense if it's not too big of a change? Things like that. So like, it probably made Trajan happy to hear JB saying some of the things, and that may have been part of the draw, because Trajan may have seen what he did over there with Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland. That may have been part of the draw for him to have a coach who knows how to manage two all-star level guards in that way. So I'm just glad that those two are aligned in that thinking when it comes to spacing for your premier guards.
Yeah, and also another side note is him adding the fact of, having a guy that and Tobias who, at times can go and get a bucket when you need him to.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's another thing that's very important for the offense. Somebody that Cade can toss the ball to, and that can go and get you a bucket. You know what I'm saying? Him, Tim Hardaway, them type of guys, man.
Yeah.
So that's important to have on this team too.
Yeah, bro. So what do you think about, side note real quick? I know you probably appreciate this one. How do you feel about this one? Nobody but D.
It ain't that level yet.
Not yet, right?
Man, Dan Campbell will ever be iconic. It forever be iconic for his press conference, man.
Yeah.
I don't think we bite kneecaps yet, but maybe we can get there.
We may be getting maybe some nipping at some ankles. We'll see.
Right.
We'll see. Yeah, but I thought that was interesting. And like you said, like, I don't even need him to be Dan. I don't even need him to be iconic. If he's close to a level of effective as he is, you can be as uniconic as you want. You can be as aloof as you want. I don't care. Just want to see the results.
Just be what you say you are going to be. That's
well said.
It. That's all it is. Because Dan Campbell, that team is what he said they're going to be.
Well said, bro.
What you said they're going to be. Be that defensive powerhouse. Be that team that's spaced on offense, and be that team.
Right. 100%. Okay, so we're gonna get to some sound that I know I've already seen in the chat. A lot of people keep asking about when we're going to get to this. We're about to get to it. All right, so this is the first one regarding Cade and Ivy and Cade Cunningham. All right, we'll get this off of here so we can see it. And it says, we always try, this is JB Bickerstaff talking about his backcourt, Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland with Cleveland. He said, we always tried to keep one of those guys on the floor. Start and close games together. You always have one of those dynamic players on the floor. Music to my ears, bro. This was absolute music to my ears. Do you remember just the other day, I think on Tuesday when we last streamed, everybody was saying, and it still might happen, but everybody was saying Tim Hardaway Jr. and Malik Beasley going to start. And I was saying that I think that the move is to start Cade and Jaden together and slide Jaden to point guard when Cade sits down. Remember we talked about that?
Yep.
Like, it seems like that's what's happening. It seems like that's what JB is thinking. I think that 3-guard lineup is the move, bro. And you have either Beasley or Hardaway getting those other shooting guard minutes. Mm-hmm. I just think that allows Jaden to play off the ball. He talked about playing off the ball. That's exactly what he mentioned in his presser. And, have the ball in Jaden's hands and let him attack when Cade goes to the bench. And then have Beasley and Hardaway Jr., into the game at that point as the shooting guard. To me, that's the only way you can really get Jaden close to 30 minutes per game, get him reps consistently. And he has kind of make up for lost time because of last season. So I want him to get as many reps as possible. So if you have him as a backup point guard only, he's getting 16 to 18 minutes. That's not enough reps to progress at the rate we're trying to get him to move to. So I'd rather cut down on Beasley and Hardaway Jr.'s minutes than I would, cutting down Jaden's minutes, especially if they continue to push that super high ceiling that I think they can get to as a starting backcourt. So I think Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland, they didn't become an all-star backcourt until Bickerstaff got there. So he knows what he's doing, and I hope that's what he's looking to do. I get the fit part with Cade and either Beasley or Tim Hardaway Jr., but it's not like Jaden Ivey is just a terrible shooter either.
Right.
If he's open, he can still knock it down. I think once again, the spacing all around with Tobias and things like it's just going to make it more evident. But I think you sacrifice a little bit of shooting, perhaps, to allow Jaden Ivey to get those minutes just to make sure and see all you can get out of this starting backcourt.
Right. Yeah, I think it's just a way to have constant pressure applied on teams' defenses.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You need to have that constant pressure applied to those defenses. You don't need a drop off when the bench come in. You don't need this all bench lineup.
Right. Exactly.
You don't need that crap.
Especially, I'm going to cut you off, especially when JB Bickerstaff is known for not having huge rotations. He's usually 7, 8, or 9 deep. So, like you said, it's not going to be, 10 deep every night. Go ahead.
Yeah. Like I said, you constantly apply pressure that way. That's what you want to be. That's what you want to do. There's no breaks. You know what I'm saying? Because what we were doing last season was absolute nonsense. It's absolute 100% nonsense, man. So, makes perfect sense. Yeah, makes perfect sense.
And it just makes me happy that it's coming from a coach who's done it. You know what I mean? It's not like it sounds great in theory, but okay, has this worked for you? Like he literally came from a situation where it worked great for him, and that may have been the draw on both sides, as far as from his side having done it, and from our side of knowing he's done it. So I really feel like it's a good match. The more and more I think about it, the more we talk about it. So I just wanted to hit on that as far as with Jaden and Caden. Another Jaden quote from JB. He said, "I think there's a natural speed and athleticism that is hard to deal with in this league." And he said he's looking forward to seeing Ivy catch the ball on the move and to play with that tempo. So once again, this is why I think you have to start them together. So that way, when you bring Jaden off the bench, Cade sits down. If you were to do that, like when Cade sits down, who's going to put Jaden in situations to be able to attack off the catch?
Right.
Who's going to be that guy? Sasser? He's not at that point. So in order for you to have that, you need to have a playmaker on the floor who can get him the ball in that situation. And Cade is the guy to do that. But if he's sitting down, who's doing it? So Cade is the really only true facilitator that can effectively get him the ball in those situations. So he would have to start along him in order to do that. It's just, for me, it's no other way around that happening in that way based on what they're saying.
Yeah. I just, man, you have to be able to use Ivy's speed and athleticism.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
Just not only with the Monty Williams staff, but also some of Dwayne Casey. I always felt like, why don't we run more? You know what I'm saying? Why don't we, we should be outrunning, especially with all these young players on this team. We just didn't do that consistently. And it drove me crazy. So
right.
Like I said, that's your advantage, man. You got Assar Thompson on this team too.
Yeah.
You also, you just drafted, Ron Holland. You man, get out and run. You know what I'm saying? And at the same time, allow Ivy to be great, man, and attack that basket and use his gifts.
Right.
Because it's very, very hard to stay in front of him. So
right.
I totally agree.
What's going on? This is from Lance, one of our guys. What's going on, Lance? He said, you guys think we could see a different guard start depending on the matchup. I don't think so. I think they're going to try I think they should try to keep it as consistent as possible, because I really just want to get Cade and Jaden as many reps as possible. We say a lot. Out of 164 possible games that they've been here, they played 68 of those together, 30%. Yeah. So unless somebody's in foul trouble or something like that, then I think you go into your, deeper into your bench, and maybe you start, I still wouldn't start anybody different, but foul trouble, I'm looking at THJ and possibly Beasley if my guys are in foul trouble. But as far as starting, I'm riding with these two guys. I'm really trying to see what they give me in different situations. I want to see what works. I want to see what doesn't. I want to see if it's worth it to, bypass the weaknesses if it makes sense, if it's worth it, right? And then you still got Ivy working on this jumper. You still have Ivy working on, becoming a more complete point guard. It just gives you more options, I think, if you just allow them to get more and more reps and kind of get a feel for each other.
Yeah, I think also it'll be a better understanding on the offense with the two guards that we have in Cade and Ivy on, who should be doing what. Because I've seen a lot of confusion out there on the court when them two was out there together trying to figure out who to be, what I'm saying. I think there's going to be more of a greater explanation of role explained to these guys. Like, this is what we're looking for in the offense. This is when we go to Ivy. This is when we attack this. It's going to be based off, matchups, I believe. So that's just evident because of what you've seen with Garland and Mitchell. So, yeah, I think we'll have a better situation.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. King, I know you answered this one. We talked about this. We talked about I personally have Assar starting in that situation. It really just depends on who else you have in that starting lineup. I still want to see the big lineup where Tobias is starting at the 3 and you got Stu at the 4 and JD at the 5, right? Just especially based on what JB was saying, that's still my ideal lineup to start day one. I just want to see how it looks. And how it matches up against other teams. If we go smaller with Tobias at the 4, I probably would go with Assar at the 3. I like Fontecchio's game. I feel like he gives more to me, though, off the bench when I'm looking for scoring punch. I feel like he is a great spacer. That would be great with Ivy when you put him at the 1. He's exactly what you need. You know what I mean? So I feel like he would be a great fit there. Assar, you can make a case for Assar too as far as pushing the ball, but I just want to see Ivy and Cade with spacing. I just want to see spacing with them. So
you can't have all. No, go ahead, finish.
No, I was just saying, I just would definitely want to see them with spacing as much as possible at all times.
Yeah, you can't have. I think you got to kind of have Fontecchio come off the bench. You can't have all of your spacing with the starting unit and
right.
You know what I'm saying? So you need a spacer on your second unit too. And like I said, based off of what I said before, based off the contract situation, to me it just makes more sense.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not mad at this, Cersei. A lot of guys need to work on their defense. Not just JI, but he does too. But once again, that's why we got JB here. I totally agree with you as far as the defense as a whole. Guys got to stay out of foul trouble. They need to start reaching, play smarter defense, play more disciplined defense. So I'm with you. But I think I'm hoping JB is going to help just naturally, because he also said he has a coaching staff that he brought that's full of teachers. So we got Fred Vinson, and that's great. But we have a staff, according to JB, that wants to teach. Everybody wants to teach. So that's the development piece of it. For sure. Okay, let's keep moving, bro. We got a few more. This one was with Cade when we were talking about JB, and this was one of the things that he had to say. He said, Cade is a stud. Our focus is making him one of the best two-way players. He wants to take the Pistons to the next level. Thoughts on that, if you have any, King, as far as what you feel Cade can be going forward as a potential two-way player?
Man, that's everything that we know he is. You know what I'm saying? As a two-way player. He's going to give you the effort on both sides.
Yep.
So, that's something we've seen already. You know what I'm saying? So he's only going to get better offensively. But on the defensive end, I think he already gives you all the effort that you want on the defensive end. You can always improve and get better. It's not like I'm not saying he's a lockdown defender at this point in his career, but he gives that effort. And that's all I want to see out of my backcourt. Give the effort. So, I can agree with him.
Man, like anytime you hear a coach saying that he wants to turn his star player into one of the best two-way players, sign me up all day long. Like, that was one of the biggest things that stood out, bro, from this whole presser, is just his defensive mindset. Like, he could have left it at, he could have just said, we want to surround Cade with spacers and shooters like he did. We want to put Cade in the best position and be at his best like he did. And that would have been cool. I don't think anybody would have had a problem with that. But King, bro, being a two-way player, that requires something up here. Because it means you're going to sacrifice some of your offense.
Yep.
You're sacrificing some of that gas in your tank to perform on defense. And so a good example of that, we saw that with Luka. You talk about it all the time. I love Luka. You know how I feel about Luka. One of my favorite players. But one of the things that he's been maligned for, as incredible as he is offensively, is his lack of commitment defensively. So, like, think about the finals. When he did play defense, like hard, tough defense in game 4, a lot of his shots was coming up short. Hitting the front iron because he was gassed, because he was exerting so much energy on defense. So that's what happens. And you got to know going in, that's going to happen. I may not have a great shooting night. I may not have 25, 30. I may not, whatever. But Cade is built for that. He's a team player. He wants to win. So he don't care about averaging 30. He just wants to win. So I think one thing that he's got to stay on top of, though, is his conditioning. He got to be in great shape. That's the only way you can be a great two-way player. And that's why I think that Luka is not a two-way player, because he's not in good shape and he gets gassed way too quick. Like you said that. So if I'm the Pistons, that's one of the biggest focuses for Cade this offseason, is just to get that diet right.
Right.
Just stay in tip-top shape, because he's got the mindset and he's got the skills to be a perennial all-star two-way player. And I'm really excited to see that.
Yep. Absolutely. Totally agree.
Yeah, man. That just made me so excited. Just that you don't hear too many coaches saying that about their star player. You're talking about, just doing everything that you can to make his life easier. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of times you'll hear coaches wanting to go get defenders to put alongside their star player, so the star player doesn't have to guard the best offensive player. You don't really hear the coach saying, we want to make him, put him to a level to where he can guard this. You know what I'm saying? You don't hear that. So, like, Steph Curry, for example, I love Steph Curry, but he was never guarding the best offensive player in the backcourt. It was always Clay.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, like, you need to have the ability too, and Cade has the ability. Like, Steph has the want to, but he don't have the ability. He's not big enough. He's not athletic. So Cade has the want to and the mentals. You get that body straight, it's a wrap. It's a wrap.
Credit to Ashton, the trainer, and
yes,
Cannon,
sir.
put that into him.
Yes, sir. He's always had that mindset.
Yeah, you always see how competitive him and Cannon are towards each other, and then you see, the work that him and Ashton put in. So that mentality is worked. It's not something. I mean, it's want to for him. It's not.
Shout out to them, man.
Shout
out to them, bro. Really quickly. We talked about it earlier, but just having the skills and the mindset to be able to develop him the way that they have. Because people say all the time, they kind of get maligned for that. Like, man, did he train with anybody else, or he just trained with them? Look at what it's doing. Look at what you know what I'm saying? Look at what he just got. So it's just like he just got a max extension. If he wasn't that dude, it would have reflected on them. You know what I'm saying? So it just showing he's continued to get better. So just let him keep doing what he's doing, man. Let him roll whatever he wants to roll with, because it's obviously working. So shout out to them. They earned that.
Yeah. If y'all don't know the details, make sure y'all go back on YouTube and look for that documentary when he got drafted. Overtime. You'll see a lot in Overtime, man, about where that's rooted from. So that's why we give that credit and that shout out to them.
100%. 100%. Got a couple more, bro, that really stood out to me. This was a soundbite that it came from JB once again, and this was talking about the teams of old. And he said, "We know the history of the Detroit Pistons. Come March, you'll be able to turn on the TV and be like, that's Detroit Pistons basketball." Like, he's saying all the right things, bro. I'm not going to lie. He's saying all the right things. It's yet to be determined how it looks on the floor. But when I saw that, bro, like when he said that, one word came to mind for me, when I read it, that I didn't identify with Monty all last season. Identity. For my Pistons fans, right, who were around to remember the Bad Boys. King, you remember Bad Boys, the going to work teams. You know what I mean when I say the Pistons knew who they were.
Yep.
Right? Stylistically, who they were and how they played, it just jumped off the screen because you've seen it so many times. And it was the same way every single game. Like last year, I never had any idea what we were doing. On either side. I'm just watching aimlessly, just trying to figure out what's going on. It was no organization, no urgency, no accountability, no belief, no leadership. It wasn't nothing, bro. It was nothing. So I'm not judging this season off of wins and losses anymore.
It looked like 2K out there.
It looked like 2K, bro.
Like directly in 2K. Yes. I didn't know what was happening. I didn't know what type of offense that was. I didn't know what we was doing.
I don't think they did either.
Yeah,
I don't think they did either, and that's part of the problem. I'm judging this season, bro, at this point, just based off of growth and consistency. That's all I want to see. If I'm seeing the same things every game, and I'm seeing a little every game or every week gets a little bit tighter defensive rotation. Every week the offense is moving a little bit more crisp. Those incremental gains, doing the same thing, the same type of energy, and because you can tell, you know when you see it. So that's what I'm looking for. If I see that and we only get 30 wins, but I see that we all know what we're supposed to be doing on the basketball court, I'm good with that. And everything else is going to follow.
That's what we've been looking for the last 2 seasons.
That's it.
We've been looking for the identity and the competitive spirit. That's what we've been
competitive spirit.
And
exactly.
he faintly gave you a timeline of where you could see that at without saying, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So somewhere around that midway point to the season, you should see some growth and development to the point to where we have an identity by then. Mm-hmm. That was a great answer by him.
I agree. Like Elliot, even with Stan Van Gundy, when we had Dre, we had Reggie Jackson, it was a pick and roll offense. Everybody knew that was what the offense was based around. Even they had an identity. Last year, what was the Pistons' identity offensively? Our identity was we didn't have a set lineup. That was our identity. Well, who's starting tonight? We saw
sub out, injury there, injury here.
Bro, how many tweets did we see of starting lineups last season? Just compared to previous seasons. Ridiculous. Like, I wonder who's starting tonight. You literally had to check every single game. I remember in years past when I never had to check. I knew every single game what the starting 5 was going to be because we had an identity. We knew who we were. We weren't going to relent to how you played. We're going to play our game, and you got to adapt to that.
And if somebody was injured, you knew who was taking a spot.
Right. You know down to that level. Right. Exactly. Exactly. Everybody knew their roles. 100%. So I'm just happy to see some level of identity, bro. It calms my nerves as a Pistons fan to know that everybody hopefully is going to know what their role is going into the season.
Yeah.
And they're not going to be looking to the bench every time they make a mistake or worrying about their role every time. No. We need something totally different.
You got a coach that's going to actually coach you.
You got a coach that's going to coach you.
You make that mistake, he's going to actually coach you.
Right.
Another thing, if you go back and watch some of them Cleveland games, man, that's what you saw on the sideline. Bickerstaff coaching, saying, hey, listen, you need to be here. You should do this, that. You didn't see that from Monty.
Mm-hmm.
Monty sat there with his arms folded. You know what I'm saying? To the point where Cade looked at him like, hey, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, right. Like, you alive, bro? You straight? What's going on? And Monty just looking back at him like this.
Man.
And Cade like, this dude don't even care. Wow, he don't even care. Wow, okay. All right. That's what it felt like. I'm speculating, but just reading body language, that's just kind of what it felt like. I don't have any information on that. That's just kind of what it felt like.
You're right.
But watching basketball as long as we have, you can pick up on the language. You know what I'm saying? You can tell what's really going on. So anyway, that's water under the bridge, right? at this point. So yeah, that was encouraging to hear him talk about Detroit Pistons basketball, because that's one thing I have been longing for forever, for the longest, is just to see that type of style. Okay, a few more, and we'll call it a night. So Trajan Langdon talking about Assar Thompson. This put my mind at ease too. He said he's actually on the court working out today. This is from yesterday's presser. He just recently got cleared for all basketball activities. Don't want to rush him back. Said he'll ramp out in Vegas with the vets. Said he's confident that he'll be ready for camp.
Yeah.
So thoughts on that? I have a few. I'll let you roll it out.
Definitely big news for me, because you got to be cautious with that. With the blood clot situation, you see what happened with Chris Bosh.
Yeah.
Dangerous situation. Very dangerous situation. And, hopefully it was something that we can look at in the past and, don't have to see again moving forward, because I definitely want to see Assar be able to be out there on the floor and develop along with this team. So, yeah, I don't want to go into the season with nobody missing.
Right. Yeah. 100%, bro. It was a sigh of relief for me. Hopefully, we don't hear too much about this after this. I'm not a doctor. I'm far from anything like that. But I have friends who have dealt with similar situations and blood clots and things like that. And if you don't stay on top of that, man, it can really affect your health long term. So just aside from basketball, just hearing that he is recovering well is good news. And I just hope that there's a plan in place for him to keep it under control, so that he can have a long life and NBA career without any complications. You know what I mean? And I know there were some fans who were kind of, thinking about, the Pistons drafting Ron Holland to potentially replace Assar, because, they have a lot of similar characteristics in similar game. But I don't think that's what's going on. I think they really just was just high on Ron Holland's his ceiling. And I think that's really it with that. I don't think there's anything long-term that anybody's concerned with Assar. But hopefully this news with him, and hopefully no further news about it going forward, is what we can kind of expect and hope, to put all our worries to rest with that.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Shout out to Assar, man. Looking forward to seeing him this season. I got two more, bro, and then we can call it a night. So Trajan was asked if adding guys who don't miss games was intentional or just what ended up happening. He said, it is something we look at. We want guys who love to play and who can play. Some of it is luck, but some is durability, being pros, recovery. He said it's important for the young guys to see what it takes to play in this league. I'll lead this one off. I thought this told me the Pistons are looking at players and coaches who love the game, like who are here for more than just a paycheck.
Yeah.
I know we weren't good at all last year, but I do also know our young core, those guys love to hoop, bro.
Yeah.
Cade loves to play basketball.
Yeah.
Jaden's father has told us personally that he's had to basically drag Jaden out of the gym sometimes in the offseason because he just loves to hoop.
Right.
Assar, when he got here, he was looking for somewhere to practice outside. He was looking for outside courts because he didn't know where to go. Like, bro, you got a whole facility here. What are you doing? But he was just looking anywhere he could to play. He just got to a city he knew nothing about. So and we know Stu and Duran, they're both gym rats, right? They both work hard. So now adding Tobias to that mix, who's also a consummate pro, takes care of his body and his mind, right? He's going to find it easy to mentor these guys because they all have that willingness and desire to want to get better and a willingness to want to play basketball. So I think that's very important too, is having those types of guys in your team.
Yeah, that's big time, man. Like I say, you look around the league, you got so many players, man. That's just, the Pistons in the past have been known to do that. Bring guys here that you can just tell they want a paycheck.
Yeah.
This guy wants no parts of this team whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
I was one of the people that said Burks was that way. You know what I'm saying?
You did say that early on.
Yeah. So, like I said, it's good to see that type of thing change. Changing that is big time for this franchise because, like I said, you need the veterans available if you want to develop these guys. They have to be available. We need consistency in these lineups. So, going to get guys that agree to sign here and play, that are going to play is huge. Yeah, that's what you have to do, man. And I hate keep comparing it, but it's similar to the mentality that the Detroit Lions have. They look
Oh,
for
yeah.
a certain type of player. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? That they don't have to worry about if he's going to show up to work. So that's big time when you want to build some type of a winning culture.
I agree, man. Yeah, having the right type of guys on off the court is key, and I think we starting to get that. One more thing, side note, bro. This was very like off the cuff. I don't know if anybody else really heard this, but when I heard it, I was kind of distracted. I was, wait a minute, what did he just say? This is Trajan. It wasn't bad, but he said that, I forgot what the question was, forgive me, but he said that it was important for the players to believe in their coach and what their coach was saying. He said it in reference to why he wanted to hire JB. Yeah. One of the things that drew him, and he mentioned the spacing, and he mentioned other things like that, defensive minded and things like that. But then he said it was important for the players to believe in their coach and what their coach was saying. And he quickly cleaned it up and said, not saying that they didn't before, but I don't think they did. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's already out there, bro. It's not a text message where you can delete the message before you said it already. You said it already. It's okay. We feel the same way. It's cool. We understand. We get it. I wouldn't be surprised, if he had been told by some in the locker room that they didn't hear him. You know what I'm saying? That he may have lost the locker room. Like Monty, he just seemed to have lost that locker room, bro, in less than a year. Like it seemed like it didn't even take long.
I don't think he ever gained it.
You don't think he ever gained it? Okay. See, I think he did in the beginning. I think that's why the contrast between players at pressers was so different. I think because last year everybody was there. This year nobody was there. But I think it was just because like last year it was the resume. Like I was saying earlier, that's why I didn't do enough homework on Monty when he first got here, because I relied too much on the resume. I feel like the players, they saw what he did with Phoenix, former player. He's a player's coach in a sense. He's took his team to the finals. Cade has a lot of similarities to his game as Chris Paul, bigger Chris Paul, like all these different things. I'm thinking they're probably like going in like, okay, yeah, this might work. But I think once the basketball part started to happen, it was like, wait a minute, what's going on? That's kind of what I thought, because everybody was at that pressure to support him in the beginning. Everybody was there, and then like to lose the locker room that quickly. Either he just didn't know what he was doing when it came to this kind of team, like to a young team, and he was just out of his depth as far as coaching young teams, or they just picked up on his lack of commitment. I think it's one of those two things that caused him to lose it. It could have been both. Who knows? So, but yeah, it's definitely a difference now.
All I'm gonna say is bang bang. That's fire,
man. Couple of questions before we get out of here. But yeah, I think everybody is agreeing with that. Happy that players went. Yeah, exactly. Washington turning. Yeah, it's crazy. I saw Troy. He went and grabbed Sadiq Bey, which was interesting. Reunited.
I'm gonna let you spend for a minute, Deuce. I got pizza at your door.
Oh, do your thing. Save me a slice. So yeah, let's get to some of these questions real quick. Let's see. Salute King and Deuce. Do you guys think if the Suns fall in the West, the Pistons can move for D-Book? Maybe. That's possible. D-Book is D-Book, right? Like as much as I can, I really want to see what I can get out of Cade and Ivy and Cade Cunningham. I know I'm saying that to exhaustion. But to me, it's just like, even if you think it's not going to work, don't you want to give yourself enough of a sample size with a properly constructed team to see? You know what I'm saying? I don't want another Chris Middleton situation to where we're just letting guys go too soon without actually seeing what they look like on the right kind of team. So I love Devin Booker. You know what I'm saying? If he's available and we can do it, okay. Yeah, why not? That probably means once again, it's gonna hurt Jaden Ivey's, or not hurt, but it's gonna, drop his minutes. So if you're okay with that, I would make a move like that with D-Book once I'm sure that it's not gonna work with Jaden and Cade. And I'm not at that point at all. But yeah, the thought of it, you get D-Book and figure the rest out later, right? I'm not mad at that either. Let's see what else we got here. Let's see. For sure. Yeah, I just want to see what he's got, man. I did want to get to this too. Shout out to Life of Chris. Appreciate you, bro. Can we get Tyus Jones as a back? I'm not mad at that. Once again, for the same reasons I just outlined as far as with D-Book, I don't want to do anything that's going to stunt the growth of that backcourt, man. This is going to be year 3 for them in total, whether you factoring in injuries. It's going to be year 3 for them. I don't want to see another season of us saying, what do we have with them? Well, we still don't know what we have yet. No. This is the year to find out what we have in full. Even if we overdo it, we need to know if we're going to make any type of moves like that. And so I think having Ivy as a backup point guard, as a starting shooting guard, allowing him to catch off the ball, right? Like Bickerstaff was talking about, that obviously is something he wants to do. That can only happen if he's at shooting guard. We only have one point guard, which is Cade, right? So he has to be in the lineup with him. So that obviously is what they want to do. So in my mind, that means Ivy is starting. And we know that Ivy has taken a lot of time the past 2 seasons to learn how to really play point guard, right? Let him learn gradually. Let him watch Cade. Let him learn from Cade when he's on the court off ball. And then let him incorporate those things when he is as the point guard on ball. You know what I mean? Like let him see it from a different perspective as a shooting guard, and then go to point guard and let him execute it. You know what I'm saying? That's where I'm at. I'm really just about the growth of these young guys, especially this backcourt. And I want to see how they look. Like I said before, I want to see how Jaden looks with spacing too. As a point guard, he was out there by himself most nights, for being real. He had Corey Joseph out there. He had Killing Hayes. He had guys that couldn't shoot the ball out there with him a lot of time, right? So as a point guard, learning a position you haven't learned, and you don't have the right team to do it, you have no idea what he's capable of when he has what he needs. So that's my thing. Let's just see. I'll feel so much better about making a trade, even if it involves him, knowing that we saw what it looks like first, as opposed to just saying, oh, we're impatient. We got this deal right here. We think that's going to work for sure. It's a big name. That's not, we're not even at that point of progression to have that sense of urgency to have to do that yet. There's no point. So I know patience is boring. I know just going through it is boring, but like we always say, in order to build something long-term, you got to do it slow. Takes time. You got to know for sure. So that's my take on that. What kind of pizza we get?
I got some Domino's, man.
Yeah, for sure. Send me a little slice of that for sure. I'm gonna come grab it later. Sadiq Bey signing with we're just going through some questions, just chopping it up with everybody. Let's see. Sadiq Bey. That was interesting, right? Yeah. What do y'all make? Like, what do you make of that? Do you think that means that maybe Troy was like, yeah, Wiseman wasn't it?
To me, you know what I'm saying? To me, it confirms what I heard. It confirms that the situation was about Tellum and Sadiq's agent, and the reason why everything fell apart. And Troy never really had a say so in that piece.
100%. 100%.
But that was just confirmation for me. So obviously, his role just wasn't the same over there in Atlanta. And Atlanta is Atlanta. But, let's see what happened over there in Washington.
Yeah, let's see, man. It should be interesting. I did see, let's see, a couple more. Do you think Bobby Klintman going to gain a lot from Tobias? I see a lot of similarities with those two. Interesting.
Yeah, hell yeah.
I do see that. Yeah, I see a lot of that. Yeah, Bobby Klintman, he's I still got to catch up on film on him. But I think he has a versatile game. He can do a lot of different things for you. He is really good shooter. He's a good shooter. Defense needs a little bit of work. I think he has a higher ceiling than Tobias, though, defensively, because he's a little bit taller and a little bit more rangier. But yeah, I want to see what he looks like in 2 or 3 years. I would not be surprised if he's still in this roster 2 or 3 years from now. I think he has the potential to be that good. And we have a coach full of teachers now. So, let's see what he can do.
Yeah, absolutely, man. That's a perfect person to put in front of.
Yeah.
Tobias.
Yeah. Do you think this roster can be more of a... Absolutely. You know why? Because we're going to have nights where we are on fire from 3. Because we have Cade dishing, we got Ivy pushing, we have space. I think it's going to be some games like that to where we even get maybe in the 130s. I think we're going to have some games when Beasley has a game where he goes off.
Yeah.
Or Tim Hardaway Jr. has a game like he had in the finals where he goes off for 4 or 5 threes in the game. You know what I'm saying? I could see, and Cade is just doing his thing, orchestrating. Ivy's doing his thing. Assar Thompson get out on the break. I could see it, man. I could see it. The thing is, too, we have a lot of new pieces. So teams aren't really going to be able to, especially early in the season, are not going to be able to really have a lot of film to go off of this new offense that we're going to have, too. You know what I'm saying? So that alone is going to get JD, some nights where he's got 20 and 15, 20 and 20 because the offense looks different with our spacing with the pick and roll. You know what I mean? So the whole domino effect itself is going to cause the team to be higher scoring just because we have a better constructed team.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That alone is going to get us into, as long as we're consistent with our rotations, which we will be. That alone is going to get us some high scoring games for sure.
Right.
100%. I think that's about it, bro. I think we can call it on that. Any thoughts on Paul Reed? Yeah, I think he's solid. Second or third big, third center or power forward, whatever you want to call it. Third big off the bench, whatever. I don't think this means anything for Stewart though. I think Stewart is right where he's going to be. I keep going back to it, bro, and this is a couple years ago, but it's almost like he knew something. Dwayne Casey said like 2 or 3 years ago that Jalen Duren and Isaiah Stewart, they better get used to each other because they're going to be together for a long time. He wasn't even prompted about that, but he just said it. So like I never forgot that. So it's almost like it's understanding that Stu is a Piston the way Udonis Haslem may be a Miami Heat. I just kind of get that vibe with Stu, regardless of his role, what it's going to be season to season. I think just his presence is something that is really valued here.
Yeah, I think it's just depth. Obviously, you lost Wiseman, so I mean you got to have somebody to come in.
Yeah.
And so I think it's depth.
Yep. A few more, we out of here. I do think Ron will be the backup for Assar. I think he's going to come and do the same exact thing that Assar did last year. Right? Just be somebody who is a pest on defense, somebody who's got an extremely high motor, get out on the break, get easy buckets with a Cade and Ivy running the point guard, which that's another good combination. Ron Holland with Ivy would be fun. Holland with Assar would be fun even at times. Yeah, I think so, man. I think so. We better keep Stu 100%. Like Chris. Okay. 38. Wow. I don't think I've seen 38 yet. That's a lot. I said 36. King said 33. We get 38. That's a. We can't ask for more. We can't ask for more if we get 38 wins the season. So yeah, man, we gonna call it with that, y'all. Appreciate everybody showing up and showing out per usual. We have a lot to be excited for this season as a Pistons fan. So yeah, looking forward to it. Yeah, anything else you want to holler, Key?
No.
You ready to eat that pizza?
No, I can't eat this for my kids.
Okay. Yeah, you can take us out, bro. I just wanted to make sure we got all these quotes in. I think I got everything in here. Yeah, that's it, man. That's it.
All right, man. So another great show. Great press conference. Looking forward to see what he can do with this roster. Looking forward to camp to get some information out of there to bring to you guys. But in the meantime, let's just keep our eyes open and see if the Pistons do decide to make another move or two. And the watch is active when it comes to this roster, man, because there's still questions out there. Even though we don't think Stu is going anywhere, there's always possibility players can get moved. If the right situation comes along, players can get moved. So, but for what we have right now, let's focus on that, man, and let's see what Bickerstaff can do with these guys. Yep.
Yeah, man. Yeah. All right. So until Tuesday, we will keep it locked with y'all. If anything happens in between time, you'll hear from one of us, I'm sure. But as always, appreciate y'all support. Detroit versus everybody. Peace.